Russ Rasmussen was doing farm work in Sherman County, Nebraska, when he was inducted into the Army in October 1942. He was assigned to the 12th Armored Division and was sent to Europe. There, in the winter of 1944, he was in the middle of what became known as the Second Battle of the Bulge, Germany's last attempt to turn its fortunes in the war. There, Rasmussen was wounded by a grenade and taken prisoner by the Germans.
Well, we were wounded, and Lieutenant Drum says we're going to surrender. And I said, somebody help me. And my buck sergeant, who was three-stripe sergeant, he and PSC Powell came in, and I put my arms around their shoulders and swung my feet forward, alternate till I got outside, and they laid me out on the ground. And I was really bleeding. And the German officer, I should say that the civilians there, when they had built the two houses, omitted the normal place for one house and dug out a indented garden, and the water would stay down there, and so on. Well, they dug that out, and they laid me on the wall of that thing, and the German lieutenant says, "March." In other words, we're going to go. Well, we didn't know where. He didn't say where, just march. And I thought we were going to get shot right away. This was the SS group.
Yeah.
And SS 10th Armored. And Drum, oh man, he had courage. He said, "No, stop that man's bleeding, and then we'll go." Well, the German wanted to get us out of possibilities of artillery coming in on us. And again, he repeated, "March." And Drum said, "No." And every one of us was saying to ourselves, now they're going to shoot us. Well, we just knew it. I mean, you could see they had the weapons all ready to go. And there was a long silence. And finally, the German officer had a medic come up, and he stripped well, you do this in all armies or in hospitals. He split my trousers full length, this one on the inside up to the crotch, and the right one all the way from the bottom clear up to the belt. And that enabled him to he went back inside the house and got my medical pad on my belt and put that on me. And I didn't realize it had stopped the bleeding, so I made a lot of fuss, just to make clear that I was needing help. I think I was a little out of my noggin by then.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah. But they got me over inside the house, and I got the surprise of my life. I really did. They were just as businesslike and courteous as could be.
Rasmussen was treated at a German hospital before being transferred to a POW camp in Poland.
They warned us that there was something coming. And they said, "You're going on a long ride, on train ride." Well, they didn't say where, but they said, "Get your clothing ready." Well, you don't have any clothing. They take all your clothing off, and one man is in charge of the whole set of clothing of everybody on that floor. And he parks it and brings it. And one American on that floor only can receive him from him or give them to him. That's the way they controlled everything. So they went to get my clothes and brought them to me, and they were, of course, stiff as a board with blood. There was only one place on my whole set of trousers that it wasn't hard with blood, and that was right under where the belt had been on the other side. Well, I had no way to get at those, and we did get Red Cross packages. You shared a half of a 10-pound package every week, either American Red Cross, Canadian Red Cross, or St. John's Relief Society of London. And they provided things that we never got on the other. The food was soup and bread. A kilo is about like this of bread around, and it's usually raw, that much at the bottom. And it's got little stuff in it that I thought was wood shavings. It looked just like a razor makes fine
Sure.
shaving.
Mm-hmm.
And you'd see little chunks of it. I learned after the war that it was not wood, it was the kind of beets that they feed cattle. And it's a very crude thing, and that's what the civilians got too, everybody. And
So it was probably nutritious, but not very, very good, not delicious.
Yeah, and the soup, you had to, well, I never saw a piece of meat all the time I was there, except once a fellow came around with a piece of bloodwurst, and most people turned it down. I tried eating it, but it bothered me. And I hadn't mentioned, I should at this point, that they had two doctors. One was an English paratrooper medic, a surgeon, and the other was a Frenchman. Well, the Englishman took all the English-speaking wounded, like people from India, some of the Arabs, whoever spoke English, and the Frenchman took all the other languages. And this paratrooper says, I'm going to tell you about our medicine, and you better listen. Your life literally depends on it. We have no medicine. We've got about a gallon a Dakin solution for 800 men. And you can imagine how far that goes. And he says the only medicine we have is a positive attitude. And I can tell you for surety and from observation that if you are positive, you believe we're going to win the war by the end of summer, and you focus on the positive, you'll probably make it. You may even heal when we get more food. But he says if you pity yourself, you're a goner.
Rasmussen didn't spend long in that camp. He awoke one morning to find the Germans and Americans all gone. The war had ended. He was suffering from hepatitis and was again hospitalized, this time in an Allied hospital.
And I laid there during the day and made plans for the future. And that I was very lucky to have come through it. I wrote something down here in my reaction to the whole thing. I was drafted, but given a captain, a lieutenant, and a platoon sergeant, each among the best in the battalion. I was captured, but not shot. I was wounded, but only in the flesh of the legs, bleeding profusely, but saved, unable to walk, but not abandoned, carried on a hard cart, but with one half inflated tires. How fortunate.
Rasmussen served until November 1945. He re-enlisted in the Army and served 3 more years in Panama until he became a UCC minister, serving churches in Missouri and Iowa until he retired in Grinnell.